Hi guys, JT here, and today I'm bringing you some information on 20 games in Fanatical's HandyGames Anniversary Bundle of April 2023 to help you in picking your 15 games. I'm going to split this video into two parts, only because covering 20 games is going to make this video extremely long. If you'd like to know more about Game Bundle, feel free to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel out. Anyway, let's get into this. And number 1 we have One Hand Clapping, a unique and innovative platformer game that uses voice activation as its main game mechanic. You play as a little character who needs to get from point A to point B in a traditional platformer fashion. You'll encounter puzzles scattered throughout the levels that are voice activated, making for some unique and exciting gameplay. The game starts with simple voice controls, like singing a high or low note to move the elevator up or down, but as you progress, the puzzles become increasingly more complex. One Hand Clapping is beautifully crafted for a world that conveys a variety of moods and emotions, and a difficulty scaling that allows anyone to play, even if they can't carry a tune. However, the platforming aspect of the game can be a bit lackluster, and the character movement can feel slow and sluggish at times. Despite this, the voice controls are nothing short of spectacular, and they are fine-tuned for both elegant serenading and operatic caterwauling, making the game a blast to play with friends. Overall, One Hand Clapping is an impressive and fresh take on the platformer genre, and it's a game that will make you wonder, why didn't you think of voice controls sooner? While it could have been a more solid platformer, taught singing, or created deeper melodies to convey a more coherent story, the game's concept is so unique that it's worth experiencing for yourself. And number 2 we have Scarf, a single-player 3D puzzle and platformer adventure game where you play as a character named Hake, accompanied by a dragon-shaped scarf, on a journey to help the scarf return home. You will travel through different worlds, solving puzzles and navigating obstacles, while uncovering the story of the scarf and its origins. The game has a unique art style with otherworldly storytelling that immerses you in the world and its history. You'll learn new abilities of your scarf as you progress through the different worlds, and you'll adapt to each world's mechanics and skills needed to navigate it. While there are no enemies in the game, the story implies the existence of bad people who have stolen parts of the scarf's mother, and you'll need to help the scarf recover them to return home. Scarf's gameplay is primarily focused on exploration, puzzle solving, and platforming elements. The difficulty is generally quite low, making it suitable for players of all skill levels. The game's length varies depending on your exploration, and there are often checkpoints in the game to ensure a smoother experience. Despite some technical issues, Scarf is an enjoyable game for those who want to be leisurely and fantastically distracted from worldly problems and run around while enjoying the views with a scarf. And number 3 we have Little Big Workshop, a management game where you manage a tiny workshop that exists on a desk. The aim of the game is to manufacture items that you can either sell in the market or turn in to complete client-specific challenges. You'll have to expand your workshop by placing workbenches and machines, creating new rooms, and designating storage zones, as well as hiring staff and filling out blueprints in order to dictate just how a product is manufactured. As you play, you'll climb the ranks on a leaderboard that's filled with rival companies. The game has adorable aesthetics, and the gentle piano-filled background music adds to the relaxing atmosphere. Playing it can be quite relaxing, especially when you factor in the charming details like seeing all the desktop items outside of the play area. Management sim fans will find Little Big Workshop to be an enjoyable game to wind down with. It's comprehensive simulation gameplay that makes running a workshop rewarding and fun. Cute graphics and music and plenty of clever intricacies make for a wonderful time. However, the game only consists of a sandbox mode, making the scope of the gameplay rather small. Some tasks are also confusing and unintuitive, and the game could use a variety of stages. Little Big Workshop's Evil DLC that is in this bundle offers new products, companies, skills, and tricks to outplay the competition. And number 4 we have Skydrift Infinity, a remastered version of the 2011 Skydrift on Xbox Live Arcade that offers an arcade-style racing experience in the skies. You can race planes through twists and turns, explosive environments, and face AI and real opponents who will try to murder you with bullets and rockets. The game has a good selection of race modes, plane types, skins, and maps. You can play through the campaign to get an idea of what to expect from the maps and modes, and test how fast you can go before racing against players online or locally with a friend. With 8 stages, each stage needs only a portion of the races to be completed, and you can play on difficulties easy, medium, or hard. There is no need to be first in the races. Second and third places will qualify. Skydrift Infinity offers different race modes, including power racing and survivor mode, with different power-ups that can be picked up over the course of the race. The game has plenty of planes to choose from, each with a different focus, and plenty of skins to unlock through the campaign or a specific challenge. The maps are good, but can be hard to navigate at times. Skydrift Infinity is a fun flying-themed arcade racer that excels in delivering a no-nonsense, select modes-focused experience, even if it does not offer many accessibility options or customizable controls. The game is a great addition to anyone's racing game collection. And number 5 we have Neighbours Back from Hell, a remastered version of the classic game from the early 2000s, where you exact pranking vengeance upon your worst neighbour, Mr. Rottweiler, with the help of a camera crew. The game includes both the original game and the sequel, which takes your pranking international. The arcadey puzzle gameplay and simple controls make for an enjoyable, laid-back experience. In this arcade puzzle game, your goal is to execute successive pranks against your dastardly neighbour by discovering opportunities for traps to set all throughout their house. The neighbour's movements are strictly regimented, which additionally helps with setting up your pranks. But you have to be aware of his movements at all times if you want to successfully disrupt them. As you progress through the levels, additional flaws and obstacles require a more thoughtful approach to your pranking. The addition of the second game provides not only a handful of new locations to visit, but some much needed additional challenge. The game successfully harkens back to a different era of gaming, focused on a simple gameplay loop and level by level completion, with the challenge being based on your ability to deduce each puzzle. Even if you never played the original, the remaster is certainly worth your time. And number 6 we have Aces of the Luftwaffe, Squadron, a top-down bullet hell game that attempts to capture the 80s arcade magic of classic games. However, the game is bogged down by an overly complicated story and gameplay systems that detract from the core essence of the genre. The game offers cooperative play for up to 4 players, but it's just as fun playing alone. The pilots all have their own condition that players need to deal with, adding to the game's complexity. The game also has a skill system in which players can earn skill points to level up their squad, but it's too easy to earn enough points to purchase all of the skills, rendering the system somewhat meaningless. The game does offer secondary objectives though for each mission, which provides some extra challenges. The presentation is one of the game's best features, with excellent character and enemy design, artistic story panels, and entertaining voice work. However, the game lacks the replayability of classic arcade games, and the gameplay is more about reflexes than strategy. The game can be too easy at times, but also has an absurd difficulty spike at the end, making it challenging to complete. Overall, Aces of the Luftwaffe Squadron is an enjoyable game, but it tries too hard to be something more than it needs to be. And number 7 we have Clouds and Sheep 2, a game in which you play the role of a shepherd/god, whose main goal is to keep sheep happy, alive, and entertained. You can move your sheep around by picking it up and placing it around the map, direct them to chew on grass, and pull their tails to make them roll or lift them into the air to toss them through the atmosphere. This Sheep and Clouds game is a follow-up to the successful first version on HandyGames. In the game, you need to build clouds that eventually become rain clouds and water the plants and trees, which helps the grass to grow for the sheep to eat. You can combine rain clouds to create thunder clouds, which are useful to get rid of poison mushrooms that can kill your sheep. The game has a quest setup, which helps you to level up and unlock new worlds, such as Snow Worlds and Treasure Island. The game is easy to play, fun, and addictive, but can become repetitive after a while. The visuals are simple, but the expressions on the sheep are funny and the menus look sharp and concise. Overall, the game is perfect to play for 15 minutes at a time, and is great for both younger audiences and older ones alike. And number 8 we have Through the Darkest Times, a game that offers an emotional journey by putting you in the shoes of a small band of German citizens who are trying to survive and help others during the reign of Nazi Germany. The game is grounded in reality, so you cannot prevent World War II nor have an impact on historical events. Each turn represents a week, and you need to decide which tasks to assign to each of your members. Success in each is determined by the total value of the relevant attributes offered by the characters you assign, and bringing certain items along can make things slightly easier or harder. The game is emotionally impactful because it portrays the realities of life in Nazi Germany. You'll encounter supporters of fascism who are otherwise unremarkable and nice, and the steady drip 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 of Nazi horrors through newspaper headlines pierces you with cold reality again and again. You need to watch what you do and say because there are vocal and angry critics of the Nazi regime, but they risk not only arguments with their peers, but the potentially deadly wrath of the authorities. Through the Darkest Times is a powerful game, but it has some flaws. The story is rigid, and the choices you make often have little or no effect. The emotional impact is reduced on the second playthrough, and the wording of the script that references Trump can be a little jarring. Overall, the game sends a strong message that small acts of rebellion under fascism are difficult and dangerous, and spectacular acts of rebellion 100 times more so. And number 9 we have Townsmen, A Kingdom Rebuilt, a building simulation game. In this game, the fate of the land rests in your hands. As the ruler of your own community, you must build and manage a small town, eventually growing it into a medieval city. The game's graphics are bright and eye-catching, with well-organized controls and mechanics that make it a great addition to the world-building genre. When you begin playing, you'll start out with simple tasks and gradually unlock new missions and options as you progress. You'll need to balance your resources carefully, such as making sure your fields are a fertile ground to produce enough food for your growing population. If you build too quickly, you may find yourself out of money and forced to fire workers, which can negatively affect morale. Despite some minor hiccups, Townsmen and Kingdom Rebuilt is a solid and visually pleasing medieval building simulation game that is easy to learn and offers solid gameplay. The game offers a top-down view of your community, with details that make the towns and cities look true to what you would imagine. Gameplay is simple to manage, and you can easily click on buildings to perform actions such as putting out fires or adding workers to your construction project. Overall, Townsmen and Kingdom Rebuilt is a fun game to play, without feeling too overburdened with menus or awkward setups. While some of the failure conditions can be strict at times, this does not detract significantly from the game's overall enjoyment. And number 10 we have SPITLINGS, a game in which you play as a Spitling, one of the group of odd monsters who must shoot teeth at enemy blobs and avoid getting hit. If you play with friends, it becomes even riskier, as getting hit by an enemy or sharp object means everyone must restart the stage. The game has a simple concept, but it is fast paced, which means that dying doesn't interrupt the action. Each stage is generally under a minute long, and restarting is practically instant, so there's no need to sit through lengthy loading screens. The gameplay graphics are minimalist, while the comic book panels through which the story is presented contain some of the most impressive images in the game. The soundtrack is generally good, but some stage themes can become repetitive. SPITLINGS encourages cooperative play, and the game is well suited for it, as it has no extra features like leveling characters or spending points on talents. As you progress through the game, you can unlock bonus stages on each floor, which are a bit more challenging than the regular ones. Overall, the game is solid, and is even more fun when played with friends. And that's all for part 1 of this bundle. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in part 2.